Everybody, I'm Gary McLean, and you are watching Talent Talk. Thanks for tuning in once again. If you haven't done so already, please do go to the Talent Talk YouTube channel and subscribe today. As always, the support's appreciated. And just to let you know, for season 4 at least, we're hoping to get season 3, 2, and 1 as well eventually. But right now, you can listen to season 4 of Talent Talk on podcast mediums such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, just to name a few. If you'd like a full list of where you can actually listen to the show, have a look at the description details of this episode and previous season 4 episodes. And finally, reminder that this is live and interactive. So if you have any comments, questions, just want to say hi, give me a hard time, whatever, throw it into the comment sections and we will address it as the show goes on. Now, today's guests, that's right, plural, are both from Victoria, BC, and were part of the dramatic thriller feature film River Road. Rob Wiley has written, directed, and produced multiple film projects, including feature films River Road and Dark Cove in 2016 under the production company Tallgrass Films. Lexi Redman is an actor and model with multiple projects under her belt as well, including the lead female role of Zoe in River Road. River Road has also garnered 7 Leo Award nominations, including 2 wins for Best Musical Score and Best Supporting Performance by a Male in a Motion Picture, which, by the way, was a guest from last season. Stephen Roberts was the winner of that one. So please join me in welcoming Rob and Lexi to the show.
What's up, Gary?
What's up?
Oh, hello.
How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Quite well.
Excellent, excellent. I kind of asked this question earlier, but I'll ask it again since we're online here. You're both from Victoria. You guys have worked previously on another project, because Victoria's such a small community, right? So I figured there had to be. It's like asking, "Hey, do you know Bob?" And you're from Calgary, right? You know Bob? Bob.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, Bob.
Yeah.
Fuck
So
yeah,
it's like that, right?
Dude, Bob from Calgary is a pimp. Lex, we met through Lexi's ex-boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, whatever. It's the truth. And and then we worked on just a quick little music video, but it went well. And then we had Lexi in mind when we were thinking of casting River Road.
Okay.
Mhm.
Excellent. And so there was no real audition process for her then, or?
Oh no, there was.
There was.
Yeah. But definitely had her in mind as a contender, off the bat.
Excellent. And then Lexi, so how was that audition process for you?
Well, I thought I nailed the first self-tape I sent in.
Yeah.
Upon review, apparently I did not. But they obviously saw something. And so we did a couple, I think, follow-up in-person auditions when we could do those back in the day. And just a lot of screaming and yelling later and some conversations, and we had the part. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we talked about it before, but I think there's definitely in Vancouver, there's a lot of kind of squeaky clean auditioning. There's a lot of Hallmark Lifetime movies, CW roles, and I think Lexi's first audition was just a little bit in that vein of just kind of being a little more clean, but the character calls for a little bit more grit. And then we just had a conversation about that, and then Lexi came for her next audition. She came ready to rock and roll and provided lots of grit, and that's kind of when we knew she was our gal.
Nice. And you kind of mentioned, before COVID kind of hit. So did production actually kind of fall into that time frame of COVID, or were you kind of done filming before COVID really?
No, we were done filming. In fact, we were already editing, and we had a screening right before COVID. So we had done that. So we were kind of just in the polishing stage when COVID hit, and then definitely put a damper on things. But then again, It was, in a way, it took a long time to release the film, but perhaps to our advantage, because I was able to tweak and polish and do all sorts of things and sort out distribution, all that, indie film jazz. We were able to get done. So I think, in a way, yeah, it got delayed, but I think it's the best it could possibly be. Perhaps because of that delay, perhaps not. It's hard to say.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. Sorry, were you gonna say something, Lexi?
No, I'm just here for a good time.
She's here for sound effects.
Fantastic.
She's just like,
Mm, yeah.
what?
It's Halloween weekend, man. We're all feeling a little spooky.
Right? There we go. That's it. That's it. Well, before we get too hardcore into the actual film itself, I do want to find out a little bit more about you guys. So, for example, Rob, when did you get started in this industry? Why did you get started?
I've always been in it, Gary. I don't know.
Always.
Industry is one thing, one way to look at it, or just being, just into art and music and film from a pretty young age. My parents are kind of musician, artists. My dad was, his side of the family is pretty film buffy. So that kind of passed on to me. So, I mean, around 14, 15, I was definitely interested. And then I just started I was more into music in my early 20s and in bands, and then started doing music videos. And that's kind of how I got more practically into, actual filmmaking and trial and error on music videos for a long time, starting from scratch on really crappy, DV cameras were the thing, and then 16 millimeter film, HD cameras, and then everything, you just kind of get better and better until we're at the point to make a feature film.
So, were you one of those really young kids who just would make stuff? You get your friends together and you would just start.
Not with friends, no. I mean, that's no, definitely more art, like drawing from a young age.
Okay.
But then again, I would play. It sounds weird to say. It sounds kind of lame, but play cowboys and like gunslinging cowboys with my friends, and like I think I was maybe more into it than everyone else. So that's how it all starts. Lexi, isn't it kind of just playing?
Yeah, I can relate to that because, like, from when I was young, I was always the weirdo, and I would make my brother and my cousins dress up in our grandparents' outfits, and we'd have these characters that we'd put on for the neighbors and for our grandparents. And then over time, they stopped wanting to do that, but I still wanted to. But it's less fun when you're just one kid running around the street in, a shawl. So
I would like an example of one of these characters.
Well, there was Wilma and Wilbur. Those were the old folks, and then we had Helga and Olga. They were Russian cleaning ladies. That was the two standouts from my young days.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah, we should probably work on some development on that.
Helga and Olga.
Helga and Olga. Yeah.
Sweet.
And you did the accents in the whole bit, or what?
Of course, yes.
Fantastic, love it.
Oh my God.
It sounds, I don't know. It sounds like you kind of got a web series on your hand at a minimum.
Yeah. Yep.
Bring those characters to life.
I think so. I think we could workshop it.
Right, totally. Yeah. So I don't know about you guys. The kind of, it's almost like a trope on some TV shows or whatever, where the grandparents have got this attic with like chests full of clothes and stuff, and kids break into it and start dressing up. Was that kind of your scenario, or were
Almost
you guys living that dream?
Almost exactly. Yeah, I would raid my grandparents' closet, and they did have an attic, and my dad or my grandpa recently reminded me he'd pay us $1 if we could stay in the attic for a minute. And
what?
Yeah, I don't know why that we would do that.
What
but
the fuck are you talking? Paying $1 to stay in the attic?
Yeah, for a minute, because there was like a extending ladder, and he would shut it, and we'd be stuck in there, and so we would just play in there and create these weird scenarios. And it all stemmed
Wow.
from that that weird attic.
Yeah, Gary, you nailed it. No, I have no attic and no clothes,
No
but
attic story? Oh,
no
bummer.
attic, no clothes. But hey, there you go.
I don't know. I think there's a parenting tip in there somewhere. Um, with the
Lock
way,
your
yeah,
children in
in the
attics
attic.
if you want them to
Paint them,
be
paint them
comedic.
lovely. Yeah, cool.
So going back to you for a second, Lexi, did this kind of start for you? Like, I mean, obviously you were doing that kind of stuff when you were a kid, but throughout high school and stuff as well, were you like in the theater groups and all that kind of stuff as well, or?
Oh yeah, I one of my biggest kind of mentors was my drama teacher in high school, and so I was just the theater kid that spent way too much time in the theater to the point where they're like, "Do you want to like actually take classes here instead of just hanging out?" And so I would, and yeah, I did mainly behind the scenes when I was in high school, some in front, but mainly like directing and writing and filming and editing, and that kind of spawned my love for good what good film looks like. So I still keep in contact with that drama teacher to this day, and it's those kind of people that help, I think, young weird kids follow their path and what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of funny because I ran into my old high school drama teacher when I was doing a short film. Like I wrote and produced a short film, and I was doing auditions, and she actually auditioned for me.
No
And I was
Oh
like,
way.
wow.
What?
yeah, yeah. So it
What?
was really, really kind
What?
of surreal in a way. And so she
Weird,
comes into
man.
the audition room, and I was like, "Oh, so I don't know if you remember me, but I was one of your students." And she goes, "Yeah, I remember you." I'm like, "And you failed me for my directing." She goes, "Yeah, I know I did." I'm like, "And I deserved it." She goes, "I know you did." It's just so funny to this little
Whoa.
conversation of, not seeing her for like 20 some years, and then, yeah, it was kind of
That's
weird.
awkward, Gary. What the?
It
Wow.
was great though. I thought it was
Yeah.
great. She obviously nailed the part, and I actually gave it to her. But unfortunately, when we started filming, she was unavailable, so I had to get
Hmm.
somebody
Oh
else.
wow.
But
But you gave her the part. That's cool.
oh, for sure, yeah, she nailed it. Yeah, she was
There you
great.
go.
Was the part, did it have a clause that she had to go back and retroactively pass you from
Yeah,
directing?
funny enough, I've only directed once since then, and and it just reaffirmed why she failed me. So,
Oh my god.
so yeah, I haven't really directed since. But anyway, the show's not about me. Um, it's about
Kind of
you
is.
guys. So actually, yeah, kind of going to you, Rob, because obviously Lexi kind of said that she kind of looked up to her drama teacher. Did you have somebody you kind of looked up to, and as you were kind of progressing, or?
It's more, to be honest, it's more like elementary school. Um, all mm, all the teachers, particularly two teachers, were, um, yeah, just really supportive of my art, I guess. So it's a pretty young age. Um, yeah, really supportive, and the whole school, the whole vibe of the school. Yeah, they really kind of thought I was doing cool stuff from a young age, drawing and painting. So I think that kind of sticks in you know, my upbringing as far as like, you know, having some self belief. So I'm grateful I was in that position. And yeah, I mean, in seventh grade, the teacher, he was cool too, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to run the video camera on the choir performance?" Again, this isn't like some big moment where I was like, um, "I'm gonna be the film director because I filmed the choir." But it was just kind of like, yeah, makes sense. He's like, "You have a good visual style. You want to do it?" And I remember it. And I got in shit because I would pan out and look at the audience, and the choir teacher wasn't into that. So I got in shit for the first thing I ever filmed.
I think that's great though. Like I don't know, I thought that was kind of a good idea. Sounds good.
No, because it gets boring watching the choir. You know,
Totally
I,
right.
you
Let's
know,
get some reaction shots.
I was just
Yeah,
trying to get reaction shots, Gary. You got my back.
I
My
do.
friend. You
It
can sign
sounds
a
brilliant to
letter.
me.
Yeah. So, there you go. There you go. But
So,
yeah.
So when it came to your sketching and your painting and stuff, well,
Mhm.
I'm just kind of curious as to what your mediums were on that. Were you more of an oil, water-based painting on that side? And what kind of sketching did you kind of like to do?
And more sketching again, bringing up the Cowboys. I was really kind of obsessed with like the Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Maybe my favorite kind of childhood movie. So I was really into drawing cowboy shit, like cowboy gun, battles and that kind of ilk, and then mainly sketching with you know pencil, and then I did get into oil paints as well, which I preferred over it because watercolors and acrylic was kind of like what you do in class, and it's just kind of like. But once you got into oils, you're like, oh shit, this is like
Artiste.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. And Lexi, I understand that you also did some modeling as well.
Yeah, when I was first kind of breaking into the Victoria industry, which is not very large, but the kind of most accessible way to get there for me was to start on the modeling side because I was tall, I was skinny, and I was bald, shaved head, so I was just a weird
What?
looking kid. Oh yeah, I've been bald a couple of times. So that for me was like a good segue into the dramatic arts by way of getting into an agency from modeling, and then slowly started kind of taking auditions and doing acting classes from there.
Okay. And what kind of so I remember looking it up, but I can't remember you were actually part of a campaign of some sort. I'm trying to remember what that was. It was for
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, I've been part of a few campaigns, lots of hair related, but I think the most locally successful one was I was the face of a mall for a while. So
What?
I would, yeah, Hillside Mall. I would go into Hillside Mall and there'd be like floor to ceiling photos of me in various dresses, and that was a bit surreal. I was like, I made it in my
Oh my,
hometown.
that's funny. Actually, that's really funny. The face of Hillside Mall.
Hillside Mall. I think I have a picture in my room somewhere.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's so Victoria. It's so funny.
classic Victoria. I
Yeah,
know.
like Victoria modeling. Yeah, I remember I had friends who were models, and you see them like a bus stop, and you're like, oh, yeah,
Yeah, my first campaign that I booked, I was on a bus ad on
yeah.
buses and bus stops, but I
Mm-hmm.
was in drag, so I was actually a 18th century composer with a white powder wig in drag
Oh,
on, and so no one actually recognized me. They didn't know it was me.
and oh, what was I going to ask you? I had a follow up there. Oh my goodness, it's great when this happens live.
Yeah.
When my mind goes, it's great.
Mhm.
Um, but okay, I'll move on to the next one then. You're also an electrician, I understand.
Yes. Yes, also that.
So my question is, did you ever utilize that skill on set?
Funnily enough, yes. On my first big movie, it was a Hallmark, and it was the kind of guys was this home decorator stumbles upon a body and then tries to solve the mystery. And so there was some scenes they were shooting where a plot line was something with the electrical went wrong. They
Mm.
tied up one of the circuit breakers to stop it from tripping, and I was the idiot on set, like, actually, it's anti-trip breakers, so that wouldn't happen, and the fire wouldn't have started. But they're like, shh, just go back to your trailer.
Oh my god, that's funny
So,
actually.
in quite literal ways, yes, it's been relevant, but I think it just I think sometimes, especially in big productions, the hierarchy on set is these actors are these like almost godlike figures, and everyone has to cater to them. So being an electrician felt like a way to more be a human to other crew members, and I always got along really well with crew members, and I still speak to them to this day of just being like having an actual job, and then acting was kind of a fun thing that I landed in as well. So I don't know. Everything relates to all of everything.
You could bro down with the electric department, the gappers and shit.
Exactly.
You're like,
Yeah,
Right?
I
"Oh,
did
light
do
is
some
popping
I did
up."
do some LX work as well, so I got to kind of play all different roles on site, which was very fun.
Yeah, and that's kind of where what I was wondering as well is if you actually did some of the gaffing stuff and anything like that. But
I
yeah.
did. I did.
So do you still like? Are you? Is that kind of your trade then, electrical or?
Yeah, I mean, through COVID, acting really grinded to a halt. It was the first industry to really come back, but it was the barrier to entry, I think, was a little higher. And so during that time, I actually ended up working in the event industry, which was also not a great industry to be in. But my partner owns an event company, so I kind of pivoted from there in during that time. So yeah, I'm kind of still I have my hands in all different pots as of right now, and I'm trying to figure it out.
Oh, fair enough. I think
Mhm.
we're all doing that to a certain extent. So.
Yeah, I feel like we've all kind of gotten over the COVID trauma. Now it's like, okay, what is my life about now?
Right?
So
Yeah.
just there, just in that fun little phase.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rob, let's talk a little bit about Tallgrass Films. Are
Cool.
you kind of one of the founding members of Tallgrass, or?
Yeah. Me and the other Rob Abate, and our friend Reen, started our company for our first film there, and doing music videos, and yeah, there's a few commercials in there, and yeah, and here we are. But yeah, we just kind of started with my producing partners, and we just really wanted to make feature films, and so sometimes you gotta just be self starters, and and put in the work, and grind it out, and we've done 2 feature films so far, and we're gonna keep on rocking.
Yeah, which feature films are no small feat, right? So definitely something to be proud of. When I guess, what were some of your trials and tribulations as you were trying to make Tallgrass kind of work and get to these
Uh,
feature film points?
It's less about Tallgrass, because Tallgrass was, it existed. It's more about the feature films are the difficult part. Like first movie, Dark Cove. Woo, that was savage. We're out in the woods. Lexi knows probably Sombrio and some remote locations, out there filming. That'll get you. That'll get you. You learn by trial and error. And then even just the fact that we're independent, you know we raised the financing ourselves for both movies. Even River Road, it's a journey, it's an adventure, it's tough. Everything about it's tough, and you learn though, and you get better. And again, you get better at all aspects of it, whether it's raising the finances, logistics on set, dealing with all sorts of different people, equipment, everything. It's all a learn. When it comes to the production, when it comes to actual production, you do get better, and you do learn as you go along. Again, this isn't really the creative side, this is more the production side, is what you're asking about with Tallgrass.
Right.
So we feel like we're just improving. What else can you really do? Same thing with the creative side. You just feel like you just try to get better, try to improve. And yeah, I mean, it definitely, River Road, I think we stepped it up, and, really think that we've done something cool with the budget that we've had, and performances and everything. So yeah, we just keep on going, keep on trying to get better.
So for somebody who's maybe trying to break into the feature film side of things, because as we all know, money is usually the situation that holds a lot of people back. Do you have any advice or recommendations for people that are trying to head that direction?
I mean, it's hard to do advice, because especially for low budget features, because there's always different challenges for every project. The only thing you do is actually do it, and kind of go through the ringer, because the challenges you might face could be completely different than the challenges we face. But it's just about powering through. Like Lexi, you've been around enough indie films and projects, isn't it? Just kind of about, there's always challenges in everyone. It's just kind of about getting through it and grinding through it and learning from that, right?
Yeah, I think especially because we're in such a small community that you can't really wait for the phone to ring for
Yeah.
the best idea
Mm-hmm.
or the financing. You really do have to do it all yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
there is no way to. You shouldn't be making movies to make money. You should be making movies because the stories are so powerful that they can't not be told. And so I think it's even with the acting side, you have to absolutely love it. And
Amen, sister.
right? You have to
Good. I like it.
absolutely love it that you
Yeah.
will be in the middle of the woods at 3 a.m. in a snowstorm and still want to show up to work the next day. If you don't, then I would say there's so many people in the industry that like if you're unless you absolutely need to do it, it's not going to be right for you. So I think yeah, just doing it and doing anything from small, medium, large, building your way up is
Yeah.
kind of the best way to truck forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I agree, especially in this industry. Yeah, you have to love it, or really, why are you doing it?
Totally.
Yeah. It's not really the place to make money unless you kind of get lucky and
Mhm,
become a Spielberg or something. I don't know, but
mhm.
um, yeah, no, I completely agree with all that. I think let's kind of move on to the actual film itself. But before we do, I do have the trailer for it, which I'll share. Um, but maybe one of you or both of you, if you like, you can kind of give us a lead into what the film is actually about, and maybe what your character Zoe is about. Lexi.
Rob, would you like to
Nah,
start?
I always do the lead in. Why don't you try the lead in?
Oh no. Well, I guess I can come from an actor's perspective, but Cody, the male lead in this, said it's really kind of a love triangle between two people and this drug addiction and how you push yourself so far and you don't think you're going to get to this point and then all of a sudden you're doing these things that you never thought you would to keep it happening and keep yourself sustained. And so it is really a bit of a downfall of this love triangle and the chaos that ensues when things start going wrong. How'd I
Nice.
do?
That was good. I like it.
Yeah, no, I think that works. All right, on that note, let's have a look at the trailer, and then we'll have a little chat about it.
Cool.
Oh, apparently I hit the wrong button. There we go.
Met this girl. Name's Travis.
Zoe.
So what are you doing in Canada?
Tell me what happened with her.
You never think it could get that bad. What's up with that dealer you used to work for?
From Fresno? Oh! You don't want to get involved with him.
You still in that band?
We got a rock star in the building!
You have to be careful with these musician types, especially the guitar players.
What's that business you want to talk to me about?
Heroin. No stress. No guilt.
Did you like it that first night we met?
What's been going on with you lately? You don't even know what day it is?
I'm too sick to go out today.
Oh, she's probably gonna come back home because I'm gonna treat her real good. I'm gonna give her all my face.
Open the fucking register!
I was in love.
With Zoe or with heroin?
Awesome. Very seems very adrenaline pumping, well, and drug pumping, I guess.
That's right.
So, where did the concept for the film come from? Where did the ideas come from?
The basic premise was just, I'd was talking with another actor friend who was originally going to play the lead. We'd done a music video, just kind of in that modern day kind of Bonnie and Clyde kind of, the relationship, being wild, and then like, doing some crime. And then kind of was thinking of that, and I was thinking of, the heroin element to really heighten it. And that was kind of the germ of the story. And then from there, you just kind of figure out other, everything else just kind of comes to you. But that was kind of the original, idea.
Okay.
Kind of, a little bit of that true romance. It's almost like a subgenre of like the couple can, on a crime spree, and then also the subgenre of a heroin movie. And I kind of like both of those. And then we tried to place it in Vancouver, as which does maybe from the trailer you could see some of the scenery and you can see some of the vibe. I think if you watch the movie, it's kind of very BC kind of based, and so that hopefully gives it an originality that's a little different. Yeah.
Okay. Before I ask the next question, just somebody made a quick little comment on the trailer there. Very cool, Guy Ritchie style. I don't know if that was
Yeah,
your intent, but
cool. Yeah, I mean, it's a style. It is like you could probably tell from the thriller. It's it's stylized. There are some action elements too. Guy Ritchie maybe is one of the most stylized, crime kind of thriller directors with Snatch and all that. So I'll take that as a compliment. Cool.
oh, I know it was meant as a compliment for sure. So I asked the question before the show, but where can people watch it if they want to watch it?
Apple TV, Google Play, YouTube, movies. You could rent it, and then in the States and the UK, it's also on Amazon. Yeah, those are the main ones for right now.
Okay. Do you have kind of a goal beyond those right now, or like is there something you're kind of striving for with, or is that kind of where you've settled for now? Those
Oh
streaming.
yeah, we're talking. We're trying to get it on another streaming service. Canadian, it's all sorts of different territories. It's all part of the process. This is the first stage of the transactional, the rental stage, and we'll just again, it's all part of the journey, and we'll see where it ends up. And yeah, we're still trucking along, promoting it, and trying to get it on a like it'd be nice to get on a bigger streamer, but we're doing the best we can. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you, Lexi, what did you have to do to get into character?
Good question. Well,
Did you go
I
method?
no, I didn't. I didn't go method, but I spent a lot of time researching like the downtown east side, which is kind of like the Skid Row of Vancouver, where a lot of heroin unfortunately does flow through the streets. And so I did spend a lot of time getting into the mindset of an addict and the downfall, and the selfishness in my character is really amplified and by the heroin. And so I spent a lot of time with that, as well as Cody and I, this is like not a great healthy thing, but we would purposefully try and go as long as we could without eating on set to see the true like fiending nature, to really feel that primal longing for something, to get into that headspace. Yeah, just a lot of research and a lot of kind of self-reflecting. And I was in an interesting stage in my life where I was like, I want to be reckless in a safe way. So it was nice to be able to channel that through Zoe and not through Lexi.
That's decently method, though, to be honest.
I mean,
Yeah, there's definitely a little aspect of it there, I think.
yeah, I think some people take method as being I can be a jerk to everyone on set for no reason, but I think there's some elements of it that are can help in the process.
Yeah.
And did you do all this research kind of pre-show, or did you do some of this research before your audition as well?
A little bit of both. I did both, and even during actual filming, we moved around the city quite a lot, and I would always try to make a point to drive through like the worst of the worst downtown east side, just to kind of keep that always at the top of my craft. Is this is the story that we're telling in a sort of different way, but I always made a point to keep the dark side present.
Close at hand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, I mean, actors are so different this way. But when it came to just before you going on set to do your scene, did you have a certain um, way of prepping yourself? Like some people will listen to music while they're or just before they go on set to kind of get them in a certain mood. Did you have
Mhm.
some kind of mechanism like that to kind of get you
Yeah,
set?
yeah. I usually for every time I would go to set, especially if I was driving, I'd always be doing like a vocal exercise, unless it was a screaming match. But if it was like a really intense, heavy scene, I was always playing like dark metal or really sad Johnny Cash or something like that to get me in the mood, as well as when we did have those intense fight scenes, um, especially with different actors. We for the first you know, beginning of the day, we would not really interact, and then it would all come out and then at the end we would hug it out and everything was fine, but it was kind of funny. Certain actors as well wanted to not speak before we kind of blew up on camera.
I didn't
Okay.
really know this. This is all kind of news to me. I
Yeah,
didn't
it's just
know. I
Steven especially, like I didn't even meet him until we were shooting. Like we didn't he came in his first day and just screamed, "Where's Zoe?" And I was like, "What?"
So good though. But he
And
does it. He does it with like he did. I mean, he kind of had like a tongue-in-cheek humor to that.
oh yeah, and I
Like,
was
like
terrified.
he wasn't like a full-out dick. Like he was kind
No,
of like,
no, no. And then at the end, he's like, "By the way, I'm Steven. It's really nice to work with you." And he was lovely, but it was definitely a good way to set the tone of the day.
Yeah, so you were kind of like, she's over there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just an extra.
you're the electric department.
Yeah, I'm just light.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm a gaffer. It's fine. It's just
Yeah.
move on. Um, so for you, Rob, I'm just kind of curious because, of course, you had a few different locations you were using and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, was there a lot of permits and stuff that you had to kind of get as well, or
I've never,
Sure.
I've never shot with a permit in my life.
No way? Okay,
Not well. I have when I was production manager on like a wasn't my no. I've never shot with a permit. No.
okay. Has there, because of course you've got guns going on, stuff like that. Has there
Yeah, that's
ever
the
been a
thing.
complaint or a
Yeah,
concern
I
from?
mean, it's all. I wouldn't recommend that. That's dangerous. You gotta call the police, let them know what's going on. It's risky. Permit situations. Again, we had such a small crew, and guerrilla style, and we kind of learned from our first movie to be pretty inconspicuous and don't try to come in. I think a mistake that young filmmakers sometimes do is they try to come in like they're making a professional movie and they bring all these, their friends and everything, and then you're shooting in some park and then the rangers or authorities come and shut you down. But we go very much like at there's like this lookout location that's kind of in this I guess it's like a park technically, and and there's like the park. I don't know if they're rangers, but they're workers, like maintenance workers, and you just kind of see them, and you just take the camera, put it in my backpack, casually go up like you're tourists in a way. And same with we put a lot of our stuff in duffel bags, and you just kind of go up super casual like you're just hanging out, and that's part of the game, of if you want to be guerrilla filmmakers. A lot of the time, there's a big scene or there's a big like montage sequence. You can see a bit of it in the trailer with like neon lights and everything downtown. uh, it was literally just me following Lexi and Cody around with a camera. We didn't even plan anything out. We were just gonna wander around, and they were gonna smoke cigarettes and be high on heroin. And it was just me, Lexi, Cody, and then another producer who was kind of helping with the lighting, Ethan. And we were just cruising around, and we just sorted things out as we went along. And at one point there was a gentleman who had mental health and addiction issues, homeless issues, if that's an issue, was following us around, and he told me he was going to cut off my head and take the camera. This is downtown Vancouver, and you just kind of keep on trucking, It's just, do you remember that guy, Lexi?
I
He was like
do.
following us around, and then yeah, he was like threatening me because I had the camera, and you just kind of keep on going, and it gets wild. Vancouver downtown can be a wild place at night, and anyways, I was kind of rambling on, but yeah, you just kind of have to work those things out. That's kind of part of the filming style is guerrilla, no permits.
Yeah, and to
Right.
follow up with that, like I think a lot we got really lucky in that we would stumble on these locations and they would already have the coolest setup. Like those
Yeah.
neon lights were just part of the art gallery. They were already happening and we just happened upon them. And there was an instance too where we really wanted to do a scene in front of a bonfire, but we didn't want to set a bonfire. So we showed up to shoot and people had just left a bonfire. It was
On a
just,
beach. On a
just
beach, yeah.
on
yeah.
a beach. Like we
Yeah.
just stumbled upon it and we're like, great, let's film there. Like I think that when you're doing such guerrilla filmmaking, you do kind of stumble upon these things and incorporate them into the film. And we were really lucky in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean that's also part of the like the plan. That's kind of the mentality you go into it, and that's part of the advantage of having such little crew is to do that. But there's disadvantages as well when we're doing big scenes with a lot of people. Like we're getting our ass kicked. It's super stressful. It's really intense. We think the whole thing's going to fall apart. There's disadvantages and there's advantages, but you try to, use the strength of the advantages, use the strength of, oh, you know what, we could just go and shoot over there. Like we don't have to have this big thing and radio the first aid. There's no first AD. We don't have to radio the crew. Hey, everyone, we just go, you guys want to shoot over there? That's a cool bonfire. Let's do it. Let's do that scene. We were trying to get that scene and we just go, boom, done. Here we go. And so that's part of the advantages of doing it that style. So a lot of it worked out because of that.
Okay. Oh, that's definitely guerrilla is a good word for it. And you kind of, I think you have some inspirations when it comes to the guerrilla style, I believe, right?
Yeah.
In terms of, yeah. I don't know if you want to mention.
Yeah. I mean, I think I know what you're talking about because it's in the bio, but everyone, I think a lot of people coming up kind of know like Robert Rodriguez's book, Rebel Without a Crew, talking about how he made El Mariachi for $7,000, pretty much by himself, as the entire crew. That kind of from the Generation X filmmakers, Clerks, Richard Linklater. Yeah, you kind of get into that mentality. That's when I first started doing music videos. That's all I was thinking about is that style. And then I've also worked on productions, like being on, crew and production manager on a, $1 million movie where you do it another way. And so, you kind of take little bits from everything and try to make it work, different styles. But definitely that was a big influence, the Generation X independent filmmakers that just did it for nothing.
And do you, now whether this ties into Tallgrass or you personally, do you have kind of a goal in mind as to where you want to see your films go in general? Like, are you heading down to Hollywood anytime soon, kind of deal, or?
Well, I mean, it's more about I mean, I've gone to LA to like I know people there. I mean, it's not about going to Hollywood. It's just about doing the projects that you want to do. Really, I mean, unless you want to be a director for hire, that's one way of going about it. I've thought about it, but it's more about actually, to be honest, it's like really writing first. As Lexi said, it's more about the project and the characters and the story. And so I definitely want to try to get better. And yeah, again, I've talked about this guerrilla style filmmaking for my first two movies. I don't think I could do that again. I've done it twice. It's pretty savage and it worked out, but it takes its toll. So definitely on the next project, you want to, step it up a bit and kind of have more of a blend, kind of more mid-level. So there's still some guerrilla aspects, but I think I want to have a first AD on the next movie. I don't think I could shoot again without first AD. You kind of, that's it takes its toll on yeah.
So just out of curiosity, then, so if you didn't have the first AD, and I know you've mentioned a couple times you had a small crew. What was your crew size?
Just me, Ethan, our producer, is helping with lights, and then a sound person. That's it for 90% of the movie.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, based on what I saw, at least from the trailer, I mean, there's definitely. I just lost my train of thought again. Alzheimer's, I tell you.
But then, sorry, and then also our producer Rob Abadi was doing behind the scenes stuff. Like he's prepping for the next day. He's picking up actors. He's running around. I'm talking about on set. So Rob was kind of doing behind the scenes, prepping things, getting shit done. And then that doesn't mean there wasn't other crew members at specific times. Like we had a makeup artist just came in. Like we didn't have makeup for most of the movie, but we did have one when you really need it for like the junkie makeup or the fight scenes. You know, we planned out, okay, we have a makeup artist, you know, for 4 or 5 days. You know, I had a friend who does drones, you know, we'd have a drone day like that. But for the majority of the film, it was me and Ethan. I'm doing the camera, and then we had Kaylee on sound, and that's it.
Right. And I just remember what I was going to say as well. So the production value is where I was going with that. Like
Yeah.
looking at the trailer and the production
Mhm.
value of what was
Mhm.
there, it definitely seems like you had a full crew and like it was well done. From what I
That's
could
the I mean, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, that's literally the entire this is the, I mean, I'm admitting this to you. Some people wouldn't admit it, but that's the whole point of this style. That's what I did. You know, I've spent over a decade shooting this style in the hopes that it looks like, you know, this is what I trying to achieve a look that you would need hundreds of thousands of dollars and a decent sized crew to get. I mean, that's kind of like that's why we put ourselves through the ringer to you know to get this done, so that it does look like it has a lot of production value. So I think we pulled it off on this one.
From what I saw so far, I'd definitely like to check out the rest of it. So there was just a quick comment here as well, a question, I guess. Was it 100% scripted, or was there a little bit of ad lib? And I think that can go to either one of you, really.
I've been chatting for a while, Lexi. You could what do you think?
Yeah,
How did you feel about the ad lib and the script? Kind of.
I think it was a really good blend where the script was it was all very like the plots and everything was very it was all scripted, but there was some leeway in like specific scenes or specific moments, and there was a few times when Rob and I would kind of collaborate. We'd go through the script as it was and kind of tweak things based on what kind of my own character work was and what the scene felt like for both of us. So there was a lot of freedom there, I think, that Rob gave us to ad lib if we needed. But then in certain moments when things needed to be relayed exactly, then we had the script to fall back on, which it was good. I think Rob, do you concur?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before, but yeah, I mean, again, when it has to do with the stylistic approach to the acting style, which was, and with the characters and the guerrilla filmmaking, it's like we want this to be believable. We want them. I like a natural style for a lot of it. So when you're trying to go for a natural style, it all depends on the, to be honest, it depends on the scene. It depends on the line. There's no set way of doing it. Either sometimes they have to follow the script exactly because one word can change the meaning of the entire scene if it's not said that way. Sometimes we literally ditch it and say that's not working. Like, what do you guys want to do? And sometimes it's a blend between the two. So you just kind of have to flow with it. In this style, we definitely free flowing and just trying to make each scene and each moment truthful and all work to make, you know, the best movie we can. That's the environment you try to set up. And again, you don't know what's going to happen. Some scenes, again, needs to be said exactly the way it's written. Some scenes, throw it out, and every variation in between.
Yeah, there's one kind of pivotal scene where in the script a key line was right at the beginning, and I think once we actually started filming, it was like, actually, this line needs to be saved to the end. Like we need to have gone through this heart to heart to deserve that line. So even though it was all part of the script, the order was changed to create kind of a more memorable moment.
Yeah.
And from a writer's perspective, because I know some writers are very they like to keep the script close to heart and on point. Are you? Do you feel you're fairly flexible that way? I mean,
Yeah,
from what I hear, it sounds like you are. But
yeah, I mean, I kind of just explained I'm pretty flexible. But then again, it depends on the moment. Again, it depends on the style of movie. If it was more, you know, a period piece of a certain ilk, which you know, it might be more, no, this is more script based. But again, we're trying to get natural performances, and in this modern kind of way of talking, which is a lot of slang and a lot of, like the way we're talking now. There's a lot of we say like and and I like a natural style. So, and then again, it depends on, you never know. Depends on the scene. It's just whatever's best for the scene in the moment. I don't care if it's scripted or not scripted. I just want it to be the best it could be. So it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, again, as long as it's not really pulling from the storyline or whatever, right?
Oh yeah, no, the storyline is not going to change. That's the one thing. It's like Lexi, right? Like there's no plot or storyline changes.
No, not that I can
all more in the moment things. Like the structure is very much there. We didn't change any of the structure or any of the plot or anything like that at all. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're actually coming up pretty close to the 60-minute mark here already. It seemed to go pretty quick for me, but
when you're having a blast, Gary.
right? It's just, that's good. It's a good thing. It's not bad by any means. So I'll just ask, hopefully, a couple fun questions for you, if you don't mind. And this kind of goes for both of you, Rob, more in terms of the film itself, and Lexi in terms of your role within the film. If there was one person within the film industry that you could show this to, or you'd like them to watch it, who would that be?
I mean, at the end of the day, this kind of movie, the style of it, it's got to be Tarantino. If I had to choose someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I don't know why my first instinct was Carrie Fisher, even though she's no longer here. But she was kind of an icon and was a bit of a behind the scenes script doctor. So I feel like she'd be very honest, but also she's kind of a little idol of mine. So I'd like to show it to her.
Well, also, she was very open about her battles with addiction as well.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Interesting choice. That's cool.
No, that is. Yeah. And I didn't say they had to be alive, so it's all good.
Abraham Lincoln.
There we go.
Just to confuse him.
Yeah.
What is this?
Lincoln would be Hyphy River Road fan. I'm not gonna lie.
But he'd be like, "What is those things that they're holding in with the pictures on them and the stuff?"
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, again, kind of in addition to that, if there was one person you could work with directly on a film project, who would it be?
I mean, there's so many people. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of hyped on McConaughey right now as far as maybe my favorite actor at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I've always admired Olivia Wilde as an actor, and now she's moving into directing. And Booksmart was one of my favorite young teen movies. That was my teenagehood to a T. So I think working with her would be really exciting. And she's gorgeous.
And do you have ambitions yourself to kind of get behind the camera at any point?
For me to get behind the camera?
Yeah.
I have a few kind of stories that are like rocks in my shoe that I'm trying to mull over, and I would like to produce on the follow-up to River Road, which is in development.
We're already getting Lexi on board, in a producing capacity for the next project that we're developing. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a time frame for that, or can you guys talk about that project much?
Well, time frames in the movie industry are fickle, but trying to you'll see in the spring, see if we can get things going in the spring,
Yeah.
Spring, summer. Yeah. We'll see if we can get something going.
Is it written yet, or are you still in that process?
We're just writing it right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And oh geez, here it comes again.
Jeez,
see if I know, right? It's I don't know, Saturday morning, I guess, or afternoon now, I guess.
Halloween weekend. It's spooky.
Right. That's what I'll blame it on.
These get spooky. Mhm.
Got the spooks.
Oh, I know what I meant to ask you, Lexi, is theater and film. Have you done theater? Do you like theater?
Yes, I actually was the crew lead and lighting tech for the theaters that I produced in high school, and so I did a lot of behind the scenes, and I preferred behind the scenes in theater, but
Okay.
I prefer in front of the camera in film.
Okay. And do you have a sense of why that might be?
I don't know. I think I liked I just liked being in control of the maybe it's like an ego thing that I can see my performance back in film and be able to kind of work consistently, whereas in theater it's more it's there and then it's gone. It's like this enigma, and so being the person watching the enigma was a more comfortable position for me than being actually on stage.
Okay. Yeah,
And
fair.
I think I have really bad anxiety in general, so the idea of stepping in front of an audience might also be the reason why it's a little deterrent for me.
Okay. And I guess yeah, with the film side, you can, like you said, you can kind of be there for whatever you need to be for your 30 minutes or whatever, and
Mhm,
then you're kind
mhm,
of done, right, for that
mhm.
portion, and then move on, right?
Yeah, and it's also
And
just very different styles of acting too.
yeah,
It's more projecting and more out there, and I'm more of a realist in that way. So I think film is a better medium for that because if I'm mumbling on stage, no one can hear me, and if I'm mumbling on set, Rob will tell me to be louder, and Kaylee will be in the back mixing the sound better.
awesome. No, thanks, guys. I think we can kind of wrap it up there. We're pretty much at that 60-minute mark. I appreciate you guys coming on here and chatting with me today. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what you guys can do next.
Mhm,
Cheers, Gary. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
mhm.
absolutely. All right. I will, on that note, say good night or good day, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again next week. And yeah, have a happy Halloween, everybody.
And watch River Road on Halloween, spooky
Yeah,
season.
yeah. It's a
There you go.
spooky. There's some spookiness in it.
There is some spooky. There's all sorts.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's family friendly, but I think it has something for everyone.
Right?
yeah.
Oh, right. And actually, that reminds me. So, were you a Train Spotting fan then, Rob?
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I figured. Kind of had to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. One of the best. One of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah, for sure. Up
Okay.
there. Up there.
Mine's River Road, actually. So
Oh. Oh.
Boom. There you go. There's some promotion for you. All right. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
thank
Thanks.
you.